Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Morgan, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. So, welcome you, sir, in this 5-day structural equation modeling program. Most of us are, sir, research scholars and assistant professors.
Fine,
So,
sir.
they want to apply Amos in their research work.
Fine, sir.
Already 3 days, as I said, is taken by Amit Sankar, sir. They have explained CFA and SEM. So we will be mostly dealing with this moderating and mediating with fine examples and
Fine,
make
sir.
this program an interactive.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
So before we start, first of all, I would like to introduce Murugan sir to all of you. Dr. Murugan Puttaswamy sir is working as assistant professor in the University of Hyderabad. Sir has very much rich in research work, and his expertise in structural equation modeling, all these research inputs, multivariate data analysis, and contributing lots more research papers. And Sir will be giving in detail about you. The profile is very much rich. You can go to research scholar and you can see. And anytime, sir, if any issues regarding this, so they will share in mail ID. So please help them out.
Yeah, sure, sir. Definitely. No
So
issues.
without wasting much of that time, it is over to you, sir. Please.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So I'm just sharing my screen.
Yes.
So, good afternoon to everyone. I hope you are able to see the screen now. So, you able to hear me? I'm just using Bluetooth headset, so I'm not sure whether my voice is
audible.
clear. Yeah. Thank you, sir. So basically today, the organizer has given 3 hour session for me. In the first session, what I'll do is I'll try to briefly tell you something about what is mediation analysis, and then I'll try to explain what is moderation analysis. Then I'll also demonstrate how to perform mediation as well as moderation analysis using process macro. If you want to know like how to test mediation effect, at least a mediation effect using SEM, that is covariance based SEM analysis, that is performed using Amos. If time permits, I'll also show you that. It won't take much time, so it's easy to do it through Amos also. But there are some limitations with respect to using Amos for testing moderation hypothesis. So, I mean, if you have a categorical moderator, you can run some multi-group analysis using Amos itself. But if you have some continuous interaction term, it's better to use process macro. Process macro is one of the approach recently developed in the literature. Almost for the last 10 to 15 years, you have some evidences in the literature. So basically they're using OLS estimation, OLS based regression. On the top of it, we also get simple slope effect. That's the advantage of using process macro, but you don't get any ready-made outputs related to simple slope effect with respect to Amos software is concerned. So that's the limitation of using Amos in terms of testing the moderation effect. Fine. If you need more details about myself, you can visit my page. And if you look at my personal site, let me show you. There I have given some of the references, useful references for the research scholars. Those are coming from commerce as well as social science domain. So here, if you look at the references, some of the references are really old, some of the references are really recent one. Up to this year, I have updated the references. So all of these references will definitely help you to understand something more about certain concepts related to research. I mean, in general, research in management as well as commerce as well as social science. Now, if you look at mediation analysis, here I have kept some of the useful references. If you go through all of these references, definitely you will get a lot of, I mean, understanding related to mediation. Similarly for moderation, then over and above, I have given some, I mean, some resources in terms of understanding the entire data analysis process. Probably you can also go through them. And even if you go to my YouTube channel, there I have uploaded some of the videos related to running mediation as well as moderation analysis using process macro. Probably you can also visit my YouTube channel to understand something more about that. And beyond that, there are some more information is available in this page. So for more details, you please uh, go to my page and then you just look at the content. Fine. Now, we'll have some discussion about mediation analysis. Before that, I just want to hear something from the participant side. I have another screen. If possible, you can unmute your video. I don't have any objection, so that I can also see at least one or two faces from the participant side. Yeah, before I get into the session, I just want to hear something from the participant side. Did you use mediators and moderators in your research? If yes, you can put it in the chat window. If no, still you can say something in the chat window, or you can come to the live chat. Okay, I got only one yes. No. Yes. So far, I have received only two yeses. Done. So we have totally 17 participants, including myself and the organizer, 17. So the total participant strength is 15. No. No. Okay. So I got close to 4 or 5 responses. Everything is no only. Okay. Now I have another question. Did you publish any papers, maybe up to the level of A and A star category as far as ABDC ranking is concerned, or B category? Yes. Can you refer the journal name and I mean which area of research? Yeah, I could see a lot of yeses, which means that the participant profile is really good. Okay. IJ HCA. I don't know the full form. Let me check. Okay, fine, fine. Yeah, any other responses? International Journal of Human Computer Interaction. Okay, fine. Yeah, uh, any other participants who is having papers? And see, the reason, very basic reason why I'm asking this question is just to assess the participants' capability. Based on that, I can also tweak my session content. So that's the reason I'm asking this question. So apart from that, I don't have any objective. Anyway, that's fine. So now we'll start with our session. So before we try to understand something about mediation and moderation, try to understand why we use mediator, moderators, and conditional process modeling. This conditional process modeling is nothing but integrating mediators with the moderator or moderators with the mediator and so on. So basically, if you look at some of the recently published papers in top tier journals, unless they test some kind of moderated mediation hypothesis or mediated moderational hypothesis, I don't think so. Those sort of papers may be published in really top tier journal. I'm not saying that this is one of the precondition to get top tier acceptance. So one of the reason why people have started to complicate their model building process and then their hypothesis specification processes, through that way only we'll be able to advance the theoretical contribution, whatever may be the contribution we are trying to provided through our research work. So that is one of the basic reason why people have started to complicate their hypothesis. Now, beyond that, what else is the reason why most of the people are using this mediators and moderators in their research? So basically, there are four types of research questions one can answer with the help of mediation and moderation. The first two type of questions, that is how and why. These are the two types of questions. This can be answered with the help of mediation analysis. When and whom, this when and whom type of research questions are answered with the help of moderation analysis or moderational hypothesis. I'll give you some, kind of rudimentary example to understand how and why type of questions are answered using mediation and so on. For example, I have some set of relationship in my model where I'm trying to explore the relationship between X and Y. And I'm also trying to understand something more about the micro causal mechanism that is happening between X and Y through some other third variable called mediator. So here I'm trying to understand how X is related to Y through another variable called mediator that is sitting in between this X and Y. That is nothing but mediation. Why this mediator is transferring the or transmitting the effect from X to Y? Why there exists a mediation effect between, or why this mediator is acting as a mediator between X and Y? Answering this set of research question also, one can use mediation. When and whom questions are something related to moderation. For example, when this X is strongly related to Y, when this X is, or the relationship between X and Y is weakened or strengthened, when the relationship between X and Y, the direction of the relationship is getting changed and so on. Answering this sort of questions may be related to moderation. There we formulate some of the research questions with the help of this when concept. Whom is something related to. For example, I have a relationship between job autonomy and job performance. For whom this relationship is better, for whom this relationship is really bad. For example, whom in the sense, when you keep some of the categorical moderators in your model, so in those cases, what we are trying to understand is we are trying to test the hypothesis related to this whom set of research questions. So for male, the relationship is stronger, or female, the relationship is stronger, and so on. So answering this sort of research questions are related to testing the hypothesis and whom, or maybe answering the research questions formulated on the basis of whom type and so on. So that's the way how you can understand when to use mediator and then when to use moderator. At least so far, I would have done at least bare minimum more than 60 or 70 workshops or sessions exclusively related to mediation moderation. In every workshop, people used to ask me a simple question: should I use or should I consider this particular variable as a mediator and moderator? I don't have any straightforward answer for that, because you as a researcher, you need to understand what exactly you are trying to understand, what exactly you are trying to explore it with the help of the literature support, with the help of your theoretical model, and what sort of relationship you are trying to explore. Based on that logic only, you can say whether this variable can be persisted as a mediator or moderator and so on. So any methodological person may not be able to say or clearly tell you whether this variable can act as a mediator or moderator unless they come from the same domain of literature or maybe similar domain of discipline. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. And then the second point is need to refine the existing theories. Already there are some theories available in the literature. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to provide some refinement over existing theoretical hypothesis, theoretical relationships that is available in the literature. For example, already we know that higher the level of job autonomy, better the job satisfaction. Now I'm trying to bring supervisor support as one of the moderator here. In addition to job autonomy, suppose if they get better supervisor support, whether this is amplifying this particular relationship or not. So here what I'm trying to do is under certain conditions how this relationship is happening or how this relationship is behaving. That is what I'm trying to understand with the help, in the case of refining the existing theories. In the case of extending the theory, for example, already there exists a relationship between job autonomy and job satisfaction. Now I'm trying to bring organizational commitment as one of the outcome variable. So here job satisfaction is considered as one of the intermediate or maybe mediator. So I'm trying to explore the relationship between job autonomy and organizational commitment through job satisfaction. So here, by including this particular organizational commitment as another outcome for this particular existing relationship, I'm trying to extend this model where I'm keeping or persisting job satisfaction as one of the mediator here. Not only including antecedent or consequence will help you to extend the theory further, with the help of including mediational hypothesis or mediators between some X and Y relationship, definitely you can extend the theory. I mean, you can extend the existing theories available in the literature. That is another way. Then boundary conditions of the mechanism. Boundary conditions of the mechanisms are nothing but whenever we are trying to put some boundary condition, I mean, whenever we are trying to keep some of the moderators within the theoretical model, basically those moderators will act as a boundary condition for determining the degree of relationship between X and Y and so on. So in those cases, we are trying to understand something related to boundary conditions of the mechanism. So in general, why we use mediator and moderators are to better give some more understanding about the existing phenomena, or we are trying to better understanding the understanding of the phenomena. So that is also one of the reason why we use mediators and moderators in the research work. With the help of this, you can definitely very well advance the theoretical contribution, in turn well accepted in some of the really top tier journals like Academy of Management Journal, Journal of Operation Management, Journal of Management, Journal of Applied Psychology, Strategic Management Journal, Journal of Vocational Behavior, MIS Quarterly, and so on. So I'm not saying that simply by keeping mediational and moderational hypothesis, you can expect, acceptance from this sort of journals. No, I'm not trying to say that. Basically, with the help of mediator and moderator, you could able to advance the literature, you could able to advance the theoretical contribution in your research work. In turn, it may warrant some top tier publication. So that's the point I'm trying to convey here. Now, specifically talking about the reason why we use mediator and moderators, just look at this particular paper. So in this paper, they are trying to discuss close to 17 types of contribution, close to 17 types of contribution, which can be enhanced in any sort of paper, whether you're trying to write empirical paper, empirical research based paper, or experimentation related paper, or theory development, or maybe conceptual paper. It can be anything. So there are some ways are available in terms of extending, enhancing the contribution in your paper. If you look at the Summers guidelines for conducting research and publishing in marketing from conceptualization through the review process, here they just highlighted some 17 types of contribution. And one of the type of contribution, major type of contribution, is empirical contribution. Under that, they are giving 4 points. Now try to understand the first 3 points, because I would like to pay some attention here. If you look at the first point, testing a theoretical linkage between two constructs that has not previously been tested. So basically what they are trying to say here is, whenever you are trying to test some relationship among the constructs, if you have some existing support, existing empirical support in your literature, which means that we are not trying to find something new, or we are not trying to test any sort of new hypothesis. So whatever is already available in the literature, we are trying to replicate those findings with the help of some new data sets, or maybe in some other context. So that is what we are trying to do. If that is the case, I don't think so you are trying to make some empirical contribution. In turn, your paper may be just rejected, or maybe after 1 or 2 rounds of review, it may be rejected from any of the top tier journal. And then if you look at the second point, examining the effects of a potential moderator variable on the nature of the relationship between two constructs. So basically already there exists a relationship between X and Y. Here what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to put some boundary condition by including, or maybe by bringing some of the contextual related factors as a moderator, or maybe some of the personality variable as a moderator, in terms of understand some of the existing phenomena, or maybe existing relationship in a better manner. So that's the reason why I'm trying to bring moderators. through this way, one can enhance the empirical contribution in the manuscript. That is also another reason why we are discussing, as well as we are paying a lot of attention to this moderator and mediator. Now, third concept is determining the degree to which a variable mediates the relationship between two constructs. Basically, here what we are trying to understand is already there exists a relationship between x and y. Now I'm trying to bring another third variable in between x and y. Through this way, I'm trying to explore this micro mediation mechanism, or maybe micro causal mechanism, that is happening between x and y via third variable called mediator. So these are the three major ways how one can also enhance the contribution in your manuscript. So contribution in the sense, I mean the theoretical contribution. Fourth point is investigating the psychometric properties of an important scale. So basically here what we are trying to do is, suppose if you are doing some kind of scale refinement work, or maybe scale development work, or I mean already there exists a scale related to measuring a construct. Maybe unidimensional scale is available in terms of measuring a construct. Now you are trying to provide some multidimensional conceptualization. Even that can also add some value to your manuscript. In turn, you can advance the literature. In turn, you can also enhance the empirical contribution in your manuscript. These are some of the ways. Specifically, the reason why I'm keeping this particular slide here is, you should understand. See, people often used to question me why I should bother about mediator and moderator. There's a reason why you should bother about mediator and moderator. Reason is, unless you make enough contribution in your manuscript, I don't think so even 0.1 impact factor journal will accept your manuscript. Especially when you're trying for really top tier publication, they expect a lot of contribution from your manuscript, not only from the theoretical advancement, even from the methodological rigor point of view, and then overall research scientific rigor point of view. They expect too much from the authors. I mean, especially in the recent past, I mean, if you look at some of the papers published in the last 5 years, the kind of methodological advancement that is happening in the literature is enormous, actually. Fine. Now look at the next slide. Now try to understand what is mediator. I know that I'm going a bit faster. Reason is I have a lot of things to cover within this 3 hour. Due to time limitation, I'm going little faster. Whether the flow is fine or not, please let me know. Based on your input, I can also slow down my pace. Any inputs from the participant side? Is it fine? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Now try to understand what is mediator. Just look at the first two lines. A pre-established causal relationship between two variables, that is x and y, is theorized to exist due to an intermediate third variable called m. So this is one of the definition. I brought it from Barun and Kenny paper. If you are completely new to mediation and moderation analysis, or mediator and moderator, please start your reading from Barun and Kenny paper. I can also show you some history about this Barun and Kenny paper by visiting Google Scholar. Let me show you. So this is one of the path-breaking paper, in fact, in the older literature. If you look at the paper citation, which has got 1,12,924 citation, only one single paper. I mean, I've not seen any psychology paper which has earned this much of citation more than this paper. I mean, so far I have not come across any paper where it has obtained even more than 10,000 or 20,000 citation. Just look at the impact of this paper. So the reason why this paper is even now being cited in the literature is they're trying to question some of the approaches proposed in this paper. So that could be one of the reasons why even now this paper is getting cited. But if you look at the literature, maybe prior to 2010 and all, people would have cited this Barun and Kenny paper. Without citing this Barun and Kenny reference, I don't think so they would have tested their mediation or maybe moderation hypothesis. That's the reason in those days this paper was widely cited by the people. Now they are questioning some of the approaches I mean proposed in this paper. Because of that reason, this particular paper is getting more citation in the recent past. Okay, now what I'm trying to convey here is basically if you are completely new to mediator and moderator or mediation and moderation analysis, please start your reading from this reference. Definitely this paper will help you to understand something more about what is mediator and moderator. That's the reason why I have shown this particular reference here. Now try to understand what is mediator. I'll give you some of the examples to understand what is mediation, why we are trying to understand this sort of relationship. So some 8 months back, 6 months back, what happened was one of my old participant, he kept some WhatsApp status. So I used to see some of the WhatsApp status. I mean, just for leisure purpose only. In a way, I'm also addicted to. I mean, WhatsApp status. Or maybe using WhatsApp. I mean, platform. Not much. Maybe hardly 30 minutes or maximum 1 hour in a day. Not more than that. Because reason is most of my official communications are happening these days through WhatsApp, and I'm part of several other WhatsApp group. So I used to see some of the messages posted by the scholars, professors in other groups. That could be, I mean, that is one of the reason why heavily we are relying on WhatsApp and so on. More than email these days, we are sitting with WhatsApp. So once I saw a post posted by one of my old participants. The post was something related to buying an Apple iPad, buying an Apple iPad. So he kept a status picture posting that image of the Apple iPad along with the Amazon bill. So the Apple iPad cost was close to 30,000. I think for education purpose now they are giving the older version of the Apple iPad for 30,000. Even now the price is 27 or 28,000 only, not more than that. Then I just approached him. What is the cost and how did you bought? Whether you bought it from I mean Apple Store or through Amazon. Whether it is useful for PDF reading, because often we read research papers, right? So I asked him. He said, "Sir, for the academic purpose, especially for reading the paper, maybe listening music or watching some videos, this is one of the best product I can suggest you. If you don't have any Apple products, at least you buy this because there's a cheapest one that is available in the market at this moment from Apple. So you can definitely trust the product, sir. I'm using this product for last 2 to 3 days. I'm very much satisfied with the performance. So you can go for 64 GB. That is costing only 30,000. If you go for 128 GB, that is costing more than 30,000. This is a recommendation given by one of my participants. Then I took 2 to 3 days time to see the reviews and then see the product features and so on. Then finally I placed the order. Finally I placed the order through Amazon. Then after a few days I got the product. So now if you look at this particular I mean interaction, there is a theory called stimulus organism response theory that is coming from core psychology literature but widely used in marketing literature. Stimuli is nothing but, first you have seen a WhatsApp status, right? That is nothing but stimuli. Then I mean your organism processes nothing but, after hearing all those information, I also visited Amazon website and then I have seen the product, and I mean and the look of the product and then the aesthetic features of the products are really amazing. So I was literally satisfied with the appearance even through visual mode. So getting some kind of arousal or satisfaction in your mind, right? That is nothing but organism. Then finally I mean you are placing the order, right? You are making the purchase decision, right? That is nothing but response. So here what is happening is I'm not placing the order after hearing something from my old participant who has referred Apple iPad product, but actually I mean I have placed the order after thinking about the product, after getting some kind of additional satisfaction about the product and so on. After that only I made the purchase decision. So this is nothing but understanding the intermediate relationship or intermediate mechanism that is happening between some X and Y. So this is one of the example to understand how mediation mechanism will work in a real-time scenario. Same logic is applied in the context of academic research, because in academic research also what we are trying to do is we are trying to understand the world reality basically. That is what, in simple sense, what we are trying to do is we are trying to understand the world reality in the form of theoretical model. We are trying to test some of the hypothesis. When you get support for those hypotheses, you are giving some partial inference about that particular hypothesis or maybe relationship that is happening in the practical scenario. So that is what we are trying to do in simple sense, in general, in our academic research. Now, I'll give you one more example to understand what is mediation. For married people, you just try to remember your marriage process, pre, during, and post. But I'll describe something about the pre. If your family is very particular about astrology and other sort of things, you might have received astrology detail and then biodata. Maybe along with the biodata they might have sent picture of the opposite person, right? You consider this as a stimuli. Then after seeing the photograph or maybe after seeing the biography, you might have had a lot of discussion with your friends, close friends. Even you yourself would have made a lot of discussion in your mind whether she will take care of my family, whether she will take care of, whether she will go give good care to my parents, whether he will protect my family members, whether he will be supportive in terms of continuing my job, I mean existing job, if the person is working somewhere. So those are the things. I mean, we may be thinking, right? At least for 1 week or maybe 1 month time, right? Then after that, finally, you are going to say yes or no decision. I mean, finally, you are going to communicate yes or no, right? So here also, some kind of intermediary variables are coming. Some kind of intermediate mechanism is happening between the stimuli and then the final response. So this again another example to understand what is mediation. Are you getting my point? Make sense? So like that, there are many more examples are available in the literature. I brought couple of, few references from the literature. All of those references are from top tier journals only. We'll have some discussion based on those references. Sometimes this mediator is also referred as intermediate variable, explanatory link, indirect effects, surrogate effects, intermediate effects, intervening effects, and so on. So these are other terminologies used in the literature to refer what is mediator. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? This is what simple mediation, or this is what mediation. So here you have X, right? This X is nothing but your predictor or maybe antecedent. This Y is nothing but outcome. This M is nothing but your mediator. I'll give you one more example, quick example to realize what is mediation. Let us assume that I'm just speaking one of the participant name and I'm saying that what is this? You are not showing your face. This is not the way how you can attend some kind of online meeting. So this is really bad behavior. Let us assume that I'm scolding specifically one of the participants. What will happen? His or her mood will get changed. Then finally what will happen is he or she may leave the meeting, or in turn they may give some opinion, or maybe they may present their own views why they are not unmuting themselves and so on. So some kind of reaction we could able to see, right? So this is nothing but mediation. So first what is happening is I'm saying something, in turn, something is happening in their mind, which means that their mood is getting changed. Finally, they're showing some kind of reaction, either in the way of negative direction or positive direction. Able to understand? For example, we might have experienced something in customer care service, right? Whenever you are calling to a customer care service, you never get direct connection to the customer service people. You have to spend at least 10 minutes to press number 1, press number 5, press number 6, press number 7, then press number 9, then finally call will goes to the customer service executive for live interaction purpose. Again they will take another 2 to 3 minutes to connect you to a representative. Meanwhile they will also do some advertisement. By this time itself you will get a lot of angriness. Then when they speak, and if he or she is not able to resolve your issue, again you will start scolding the person. Are you able to understand? So why it is happening, right? So some kind of intermediary mechanism is happening, right? Or they may be irresponsive in terms of whatever may be the scolding or harsh terminologies or words you are using in front of the customer care service executive and so on. So this is how some kind of mechanisms are happening in real-time basis, right? So this is what we are trying to capture it with the help of mediation hypothesis or with the help of mediators. So in behavioral science research, in general, in behavioral science research, the relationships are not always direct in nature. Most of the relationships are happening in indirect manner only. Those sort of indirect mechanism only we are trying to capture it with the help of mediation hypothesis, with the help of mediators. So this is a way how you can understand from theoretical point of view why we use mediator. See, understanding mediation analysis will not take much time. Within 10 minutes, you can understand how to test and report mediation hypothesis analysis testing process. But at the end of the day, you are going to write the theoretical implication section under the discussion, as well as you are going to write the hypothesis specification process for your mediation hypothesis. Unless you have this sort of understanding, I don't think so you can do both the job. That's the reason I always in my workshops I give 50%, 60% time for covering the theoretical aspects of understanding mediators and moderators, and then I'll spend only 40 or 30 minutes, I mean 30% of the time in terms of explaining the analysis process. Fine. Now try to understanding the usage of mediator. This slide content is based on purely based on this particular paper, Wu and Zombo 2008. The paper title itself is understanding the usage of mediator only. Try to understand concept and design, the nature of the variable, how your mediator will look like. In general, a mediator is a state which is a temporary condition of mentality or mood or transitory level of arousal or drive, and currently evoked activities, behavior or process, and so on. During our school days, we would have made some comments, right? What is this? This teacher is today, I mean, having really harsh behavior towards the students. Maybe he might have had some fight with his wife, so that's the reason he's showing almost all of his angriness in the class. Are you getting my point? Kind of mediation mechanism. May be true, may not be true. Are you getting my point? Same logic is applicable even here also. For example, my delivery may be affected because of some bad incident or bad event happened in my home, maybe in the past, I mean, morning or maybe yesterday, and so on. Are you getting my point? Since my mood is getting affected because of that particular incident, definitely that may affect my delivery quality. Are you getting my point? So basically, wherever you find this sort of variables or this kind of variables, those variables can be positioned as a mediator. That's the point I'm trying to say here. Something which can be affected easily by some of the antecedents or predictors, which will also produce a lot of consequences or maybe outcomes in negative direction or positive direction. Those sort of variables you can definitely identify and then posit them as mediator. That is possible. Mood is one of the very good example. Emotion is again another example in terms of using it as a mediator between some x and y. Any questions so far? I just want to show you a paper here. Just give me a second. What happened? Nobody is talking through live chat. Whether organizer have given some strict instruction, you should not make any interaction with the resource person, something like that.
No, sir, no. We do not say anything. They are free to unmute themselves and speak and interact.
Okay. Just look at this paper. The paper title is a proposed procedure for construct definition in marketing. I just want to show you a paragraph in the context of mediation. So basically, the overall content of this paper is very simple. So they're trying to propose some 6-stage or I mean, process in terms of defining constructs in marketing literature. Not only in marketing, even in other literature also. This logic is very well applicable. Now, if you look at the page number 16, just read this particular para. See, The construct should now be compared to other constructs in the network in terms of its stability, fertility, and changeability. Stability is a volatility that is inherent in a construct. A personality construct might be relatively stable, while a mood construct would be much more volatile because our mood may be getting affected by several micro and macro environmental factors, right? The more relationship a construct has with other constructs in network, the more fertile it is. The most fertile constructs will likely be key mediating variables in most conceptual models that operate in the network. This is the point. I mean, this is the statement I would like to highlight it here. Are you getting my point? Make sense? So if the construct is getting affected as well as affecting other set of outcomes means easily getting affected and affecting other set of outcomes means those sort of variables can be persisted as a mediator. In most of the research work, customer satisfaction will act as a mediator. Then, for example, in HR literature, work engagement will act as a mediator. Similarly, job satisfaction will act as a mediator. Emotion will, negative positive emotion will act as a mediator. Similarly, there are other constructs also available in other literature is concerned. So basically, those variables will be easily affected by some of the antecedents, will also affect set of outcomes. So that's the reason those sort of variables are being persisted as a mediator. Yeah, any
We
questions from the?
also, sir, we also consider attitude as the mediating variable. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because your
Attitude.
attitude may
Yes,
be changed depending upon the
yes, yes,
situation, right?
yes, sir.
Makes sense.
Yes, sir.
For example, I'll narrate one of my past incident happened at Mumbai airport. So I was traveling from Rajkot to Hyderabad. So it's a Air India flight. It's a connecting flight, not connecting actually. The same flight was used to serve the passengers between Rajkot to Mumbai and then Mumbai to Hyderabad. Just for the sake of their purpose, they want to do some kind of cleaning. At least they would have asked me to wait outside of the aircraft. So what they have done was they said you go and come via gate number 41B or 41A something. So it took almost 40 minutes to reach that particular gate from the top floor to ground. I mean first floor, and there is no internal transfer facility available. Exactly, just before closing the gate I just reached the gate and finally I could able to enter into the aircraft. Then I scolded them like anything. Suppose if I would have missed this flight, are you going to make any compensation to the passenger? This is very bad since you are not having any internal transfer within 20 minutes gap. How one can reach gate number 41 from the second floor or maybe third floor wherever they're doing the departure arrival process and so on. So there my attitude or maybe my behavior completely get changed because of this particular negative experience given by that particular airline industry. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Make sense? So
Yes, sir.
this sort of variables will immediately affect the loyalty or maybe satisfaction and so on. So whatever may be the incidents which you have experienced so far, that may easily affect your intention to reuse that particular service once again and so on. So this sort of variables can be persisted as a mediator. So this is how in the literature also the people are using some of the variables as a mediators. This logic is clear.
Yes, sir.
Function in a causal relationship, a third variable that links a cause and an effect. So basically, if you look at the entire direction of the relationship, mediator is acting as a linking pin between your X and then Y. That's the way how you can understand this. So one side you have the cause variable, another side you have the effect variable. In between, you are trying to keep something. That in between mechanism is nothing but your mediator. Then type of questions. So here, as I said earlier, how and why cause leads to effects. So these are the two sort of research questions we are trying to answer with the help of mediational hypothesis or with the help of mediator. Then when to model it. When causal effect is found, that time you can keep some of the mediators and then you can explore the mechanism. Role in a causal relationship, dual role, dependent variable for X, independent variable for Y, which means that X to M relationship, their mediator is acting as a dependent variable for your focal X. Same variable mediator is acting as independent variable for your dependent variable, that is your final outcome called Y. So that's the reason why they are saying that dual role. Then sequence of operation follow independent variable and precedes dependent variable. A relationship with the independent variable, it will definitely have correlation with X as well as Y. Design control, usually mediational hypothesis, I mean according to the literature, usually mediational hypothesis must be tested with the help of experimentation, experimental research, or observational research. If you are trying to test any sort of mediational hypothesis using cross-sectional data, means definitely reviewers and editors will ask several questions related to testing of your mediational hypothesis using cross-sectional data. But even though they're asking several questions related to this aspect, but there are some evidences available in the literature. Now, I would like to show you a few examples from the literature. Yeah, any questions?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, in
Yeah.
the previous slide, what is the design control? The previous slide, sir.
To test mediational hypothesis, always the recommended approaches use experimentation or kind of observational research.
Okay.
Don't use survey or cross-sectional data for testing your mediational hypothesis.
Okay,
That's
okay,
the point
okay.
I'm saying.
Okay, sir.
So now I just want to show you a few examples in terms of understanding how the people have used certain variables as mediators in their research. Of course, this paper is a serial moderated mediational hypothesis related paper. Even in the model itself, in a big bold font, they just mention it as serial multiple mediation model. So the paper title is When Family Supportive Supervisors Meet, Employees' Need for Caring, Implications for Work Family Enrichment and Thriving. So here this when question is actually related to the kind of moderation which they are testing by keeping need for caring as one of the moderator here. So FSSB, family supportive supervisor behavior is related to employee thriving through first psychological availability, second work family enrichment. So basically here psychological availability and work family enrichment both are acting as a mediator between FSSB and employee thriving. This paper is coming from Journal of Management, one of the FT50 and really top journal in management discipline. So you can trust the quality of the paper. So here basically these two variables are acting as a mediator. It's a serial mediation. This paper is coming from Human Resource Management 2018 paper again. When and why? See, I told you that the kind of research question which we are talking here is under the parlance, mediation and moderation is when and why. When is related to moderation, why is related to mediation. Even in the title of the research paper itself, clearly they have stated something related to this aspect. When and why does transformational leadership influence employee creativity, the roles of personal control and creative personality. Here, the roles of personal control and creative personality are nothing but moderator and mediation role. Basically, transformational leadership and follow creativity is mediated by personal control. So this is what they're trying to explore. Basically, it's a moderated mediation model where creative personality is actually affecting the entire indirect effect between transformational leadership and follower creativity through personal control. Any questions? Able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Just look at this model, 2019 paper, bit complicated one. Unintended reward cost, the effectiveness of customer referral reward programs for innovative products and the services, Journal of the Academy of Marketing Science. So basically here, if you look at product or service innovativeness is related to referral likelihood through expected self-enhancement. Here, expected self-enhancement is acting as a mediator between product or service innovativeness and referral likelihood. Make sense? Public referral reward, then managerial instruments, all those things are acting as a moderators here. This paper is coming from JB, Journal of Business Ethics. Do customer perceptions of corporate services brand ethicality improve brand equity? considering the roles of brand heritage, brand image, and recognition benefits. So here customer perceived ethicality is acting as a X, brand equity is acting as Y. This relationship is established through brand image as well as recognition benefits. Basically here brand image and the recognition benefits are acting as a mediators. Fine. How and when does socially responsible HRM affect employees, organizations, citizenship behaviors toward the environment? So if you look at here, this how and when question is directly connected with your mediation and moderation. This how is related to person organizational fit, that is acting as a mediator. When is related to moderator, that is a responsible RESR represents perceived roles of ethics and social responsibility. So there's a way how people are conceptualizing their model, and they're trying to publish the sort of works in some of the top tier journals like Journal of Business Ethics. Now, we have seen a lot of examples. Now, I would like to show you the way in which how the people have narrated or maybe created their hypothesis. Wherever they have tested some kind of mediation hypothesis. Now, look at this model. Here they are trying to test the relationship between family incivility and counterproductive work behavior through state self-esteem, right? This model is coming from this particular paper, 2016 reference, family incivility and counterproductive work behaviors, a moderated mediation model of self-esteem and emotional regulation. Basically here they are trying to test moderated mediation hypothesis, but here my objective is just to narrate some story about how the state self-esteem is being persisted or used as a mediator. See, family incivility is one of the negative construct. Let us assume that my wife is not appreciating the kind of activities I'm doing, the kind of outreach activities I'm doing at present as well as in the past. Let us assume that today is holiday, Saturday, Sunday is holiday. Today also, I'm sitting in front of my laptop and then I'm delivering this particular lecture. You think it from the family point of view. Definitely, they do have some expectation, maybe going for a walk or maybe going to the mall for shopping or maybe going for some dinner and so on. They may be having some kind of expectation, right? So here, let us assume that she's giving really negative comment about my profession or maybe negative comment about the kind of activities which I'm doing. Let us assume that it's a negative sort of incident, right? That may consume some level of personal resources, that may affect or decrease my self-esteem level, which in turn, what will happen is that will definitely affect my delivery. Are you getting my point?
Yes,
Make
sir.
sense?
Yes, sir.
So here there is a theory called work to home resources model. This theory was proposed by Arnold B. Baker and one more author, published in American Psychologist Journal in the year of 2012. So this theory says that when you get home demand, when you get some demand from the home side, that will negatively affect personal resources, which in turn that will affect your work outcomes positively as well as negatively. Are you getting my point? So under the home demand, they are persisting this family incivility construct. Under the personal resources, they are persisting this state self-esteem construct. Under the work outcomes, they are keeping this counterproductive work behavior construct. So basically here what is happening is they are trying to say that state self-esteem is mediating the relationship between family incivility and counterproductive work behavior. Are you getting the logic? Based on this theory support, they are trying to say this. No questions?
So I think emotional regulation is the moderator variable because this one is
Yeah,
a
it's a
self-esteem.
moderator. In the moderated mediation hypothesis, the story is when you
Yes, sir.
have negative impact that is coming from your family domain, definitely that is going to affect your state self-esteem. At the same time, if you have some level of emotional regulation, you can mitigate this negative impact so that you can protect or maintain your same level of self-esteem. which in turn that will not hamper your final outcome, that is your work domain outcomes. So in order to test this particular hypothesis, they are trying to bring this moderator, and they have tested this relationship, moderated mediation hypothesis, and they have also provided some evidence for this claim.
Okay, sir.
But here my focus is only explaining the mediational part.
Yes, sir.
Make sense? Able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Just look at the, sorry. I think someone is asking something. Yeah, any questions?
No questions, sir.
Okay, fine. For example, look at the explanation given in this paper. According to work-home resources model, just read this para. Contextual demands are physical, emotional, social, or organizational aspects of social context that need sustained physical and mental effort. All contextual demands deplete personal resources. One type of the contextual demands, that is emotional demands, are issues that will drain emotions. Family instability, as it causes emotional draining, should be a kind of emotional contextual demands in home domain that cost one's personal resources, such as state self-esteem. So basically here they're trying to give some justification about how this family instability is persisted under that particular home demand umbrella. Based on work-home resources model, it is reasonable to assume that state self-esteem as a type of personal resources would be depleted by emotional contextual demands such as family instability. Individuals suffering from instability are likely to collect negative aspects about their value, which will negatively relate to their state self-esteem. One of the family instability events is that family members condescend the family instability victims, which makes the victims think they are lower than others and look at themselves low. How family instability is affecting their self-esteem or maybe personal resources, they are trying to provide some justification here. The work-home resource model suggests that contextual demand from the home side would deplete one personal resources, which would then lead to negative behavioral outcome in the work domain. Although scholars have found that family work conflict is positively correlated to deviant work behaviors, according to this citation, to the best of our knowledge, no study has been conducted on the relationship between emotional demands in family domain, that is family instability, and the deviant work behaviors. The mechanism of the relationship is also unclear. According to the work-home resource model, contextual demands from one side of work-home interface would deplete one's personal resources and then be related to deviant behavioral outcomes in the other side of work-home interface. Based on this perspective, family instability as a contextual demand in home side would deplete one's personal resources such as state self-esteem. The lack of this kind of personal resources will be related to negative outcomes in work side like counter work productive behavior. Now able to understand the way in which how they're narrating their claim or maybe arguments or maybe stories under the hypothesis specification section in order to specify their mediation hypothesis. Now getting some clarity.
Yes, sir.
Based on this, they're saying that state self-esteem is mediating the relationship between family instability and CWB, that is counterproductive work behavior. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Now, what we are going to do is now only I'm starting the mediation analysis part. So far, whatever we have discussed is just the theoretical aspects of understanding mediation. Now, when you look at this mediation analysis concept, according to Barun and Kenny 1986 paper, they have proposed 4 steps to run the analysis, but this third step is not at all required. You try to understand what is step 1, step 2, and step 4. In step 1, what we are trying to do is we have a relationship between X and Y. Keeping this particular relationship alone is referred as total effect model. Are you getting my point? keeping this relationship is alone referred as total effect model. Without the mediator, we are just trying to test the relationship between our one of the antecedent with the outcome variable. That is nothing but total effect model, or we are trying to test the relationship between x and y without the mediator. That is nothing but total effect model. Logic is clear?
Yes, sir.
This is referred as C. This coefficient is referred as C. This is nothing but total effect. Now go to the step 2. In step 2, we are trying to test the relationship between x and m. This coefficient is referred as A. This coefficient is referred as A. Next, in step 4, what we are trying to do is we are trying to test the relationship between x and y as well as m and y simultaneously. After controlling this x, whether there exists a relationship between m and y or not. That is what we are trying to understand here. So this is nothing but step 4. So basically this x and m relationship is referred as coefficient A, m and y is referred as B, then x and y after the inclusion of m in the final stage. This particular relationship is referred as C dash. The C dash relationship in this model, in the 4th step, is referred as direct effect. Previously, the x and y relationship is referred as total effect, but in the case here it is referred as direct effect. Logic is clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, after running this regression, we get some coefficients for A and B. Let us assume that A and B are statistically significant. Job is not over. Further, what we need to do is we have to multiply this A coefficient with the B coefficient, and then you have to test whether that multiplied product term is statistically significant or not. In order to do that, in Baron and Kenny paper, authors have suggested a technique called Sobel's test. S-O-B-E-L-S. Sobel's test. The one who has found a test metric called Sobel's test. So that is nothing but Sobel test. So with the help of that, you can test whether that multiplied product is significant or not. Suppose if the multiplied product is, sir, how to develop model if independent variables are more than one? That's fine. Logic is same only. We can simultaneously test it in same framework. If you are using process, you keep multiple x's as covariate in process macro. You try to test the mediation hypothesis between your x1 and y through m. Logic is same only. I hope you got the logic, Mr. or Dr. Amos. Fine. So here we are trying to make two sort of conclusions. We are trying to give two sort of conclusions. The first sort is, in the final step, let us make certain assumption here. Your A into B coefficient is significant. The C dash is also significant. If that is the case, our model is partial mediation model, or our model is producing partial mediation effect. Our A into B is significant. The C dash is not significant, or the coefficient value is closer to 0. If that is the case, we are getting full mediation effect. Whenever we are proposing any mediation hypothesis, there our expectation is providing full mediation effect. Then only you can say that the kind of variable, whatever may be the kind of mediators we are using, that mediator is actually transmitting some good amount of variations from x to y. That's the reason we are expecting full mediation effect whenever we are trying to test any sort of mediation hypothesis. Logic is clear?
Yes, sir.
And there are certain causal assumptions need to be fulfilled whenever we are trying to test the mediation hypothesis. Perfect reliability for m and x. M and x should have at least some level of reliability. Otherwise, you can't say that the relation. You can detect some better relationship when you go and do the mediation testing. No reverse causal effect. No reverse causal effect means y should not cause your m. Your M should not cause your X, and so on. That is nothing but reverse causal effect. There are paper evidences available in the literature where even they have tested the reverse causal effect, and they also shown some evidence stating that this mediation hypothesis testing is free from this reverse causal effect assumption. Also, there are few papers I have seen in the literature, not many, and no omitted variable. Whatever may be the controls, literature is suggesting for M as well as Y, even for X also in the context of same analysis, you can keep all those control variables in the model. That is possible. Fine. Logic is clear. Make sense? So same explanation only here. I just reiterated everything. So what is total mediation or full mediation and then partial mediation? If you look at this particular reference, reconsidering Baron and Kenny myths and truths about mediation analysis, this paper is one of the path-breaking paper. Even before this paper, Professor Andrew F. Hayes from Ohio State University, he raised some objections related to Baron and Kenny proposal to use Sobel's test in one of his pioneer paper in 2004 itself. Then after that, he wrote a lot of references, and one of the well-known textbook in the literature is Introduction to Mediation, Moderation, and Conditional Process Analysis, and regression-based approach. That particular textbook is one of the popular textbook in the present scenario for understanding mediation testing, moderation testing, as well as moderated mediation testing, as well as his process macro tool is concerned. And this paper is Zago et al. 2010, published in Journal of Marketing Research. So here they are trying to propose three different proposals over and above Baron and Kenny. The first point is mediators hidden in direct effects boon to theory building. So what they are trying to say here is there are models available in the literature where those models are referred as partial mediation in nature, which means that even after including M in the model, they got some significant effect between X and Y as well. So those sort of models are referred as partial mediation model. So based on this point, what you can understand is you look for some mediators that can be included between either X and M or M and Y, so that you can convert this partial mediation model into a full mediation model. Through that way also you can extend the theory. Through that way also you can advance the literature. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Then second point is no need for an effect to be mediator. This point is something related to this Baron and Kenny steps. So in Baron and Kenny paper, one of the strict rule which was given by Baron and Kenny was there should be significant relationship between X and Y in the first step. Then only you can go and test the rest of the things. Then only you can go and test the rest of the steps or rest of the relationships available in your model. This is one of the strict thumb rule proposed in Baron and Kenny paper. Now in Zago et al. Paper, he is raising some objection about that particular assumption, stating that there are cases, there are some practical instances where X and Y may not be directly related, may not be significantly related, but through some other mechanism, it can be related. It can be related. That's the point. They brought it under this particular heading. Then the third objection which was raised in this paper was Sobel is not noble. The Sobel is nothing but the Sobel test, which was proposed in Baron and Kenny paper. Here, Zago et al. Paper has questioned something about this usage of Sobel test in terms of testing the mediation effect. So the recommendation here was use bootstrapping or maybe some other approaches, or use some kind of non-parametric approaches in terms of testing the indirect effect. So the reason why they are suggesting this point is Sobel is not noble is when you go back and look at Sobel test formula, it's nothing but pure Z statistics formula only. to use Z statistics, you need to fulfill a condition called normal distribution. When you multiply one of the product, one of the coefficient with another coefficient, the product term which you are going to get will not follow or will not have the approximate normal distribution, which means that you are violating normal distribution assumption. In this scenario, how one can use a test statistics which is purely based on normal distribution assumption. That's the point they are trying to make under this particular point called Sobel is not novel. And then the recommendation is, for example, in 2004 itself, Professor Andrew F. Ace has proposed a method called bootstrapping approach. So you can also use bootstrapping for testing your mediation hypothesis. This point is clear?
Yes, sir.
So there are some extensions available with respect to talking about simple mediation. One is 3-path mediation, then 4-path mediation, then 5-path mediation. So this 3-path, 4-path, 5-path are some of the examples to understand serial multiple mediation or multiple mediation, serial mediation. So basically here our focus is about explaining X to Y relationship through first M1 and then M2. So that is nothing but serial mediation. In parallel mediation, we have X to Y relationship that is transmitted via M1, M2, M3 in parallel, which means that here the kind of research question one can answer is, here we are trying to understand which mediator is actually acting as a strongest mediator. Which mediator is acting as a strongest mediator? That is what
That
we are
means,
trying to do.
which one is the more effective, right, sir?
Yeah,
Whichever
more
is
effective.
So it is more effective.
Yes, that is what we are trying to understand in the case of multiple mediation. In the case of serial mediation, we are trying to understand whether there exists a chain of causal mechanism between X and Y through M1 first and then M2 and so on. That is what we are trying to understand in the case of serial mediation. This logic is clear?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
So these are some of the references, core references I have used to prepare this PPT. Actually, I had some 74 slide in my mediation PPT, but due to lack of time, I don't think so. Even I can think of covering all those content. So I'm just using the revised PPT, which contains only hardly 16 or 17 slides. So now, yeah, 20 slides, excluding front and last slide, maybe hardly 18 slide content. So now what we'll do is, I'll show you how to test the mediation in Amos, and then I'll show you how to test the same thing with the help of process macro in SPSS program. So for this, I'm going to use a data set. So the data set is coming from one of my previously published paper. Of course, this is not ABDC listed, but SSA Social Science Citation Index Journal with the 2 point something impact factor. This is one of my earlier publication published in 2013 or 2015. If you look at this paper, I've got a couple of constructs here. Few constructs here. One is job satisfaction, family satisfaction, then feelings of work-family balance and life satisfaction. Similarly, I do have other constructs, but the data set which I'm going to use here is containing the item level information related to JS, FS, work-family balance, and life satisfaction. Now, quickly, I'll show you how to create the Amos diagram for this particular model.
So,
Yeah.
excuse me, sir. Sir, in this case, that job satisfaction and the family satisfaction, these two are the parallel mediating variables, right?
Not mediators. Basically, in my model,
Sir.
I'm going to use only this particular version of the picture. Let me show you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to keep only this particular section of the model in the same analysis.
Then these two
Where
are the
job
dimensions of
satisfaction,
job satisfaction.
yeah, where job satisfaction, family satisfaction will act as a two antecedent, life satisfaction will act as outcome, work family balance will act as a mediator.
No, sir. What I'm asking is these family work conflict and the family work, these two are the dimensions of job satisfaction, right?
No. Another antecedent for JS and FS, as far as this paper is concerned.
Okay.
Fine. So
Okay, sir.
if you look at the data set, to save the time, I'm just using Excel version because with no time I can open Excel. To open SPSS, it requires some more time. So here I have gender information, age, marital status, education. JS1, JS2, JS3 are nothing but 3 items used to measure job satisfaction. FS1, FS2, FS3 are nothing but 3 items used to measure family satisfaction. LS1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are nothing but life satisfaction item. Work family balance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are nothing but work family balance items. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll open Amos. And then I'll draw the same diagram and then quickly I'll show you how to test the mediation. First, I'll connect my data set. So my data set is available in D drive, data analysis workshops 2022 ASBM Greenhouse paper. So here is my data. So I have job satisfaction as one of the antecedent, which contains 3 items, family satisfaction 3 items, work family balance 5 items, life satisfaction 5 items. So now let me drag JS items here, JS2, JS3, then FS1, FS2, FS3, then LS1, LS2, LS3, LS4, LS5, WFB1, WFB2, WFB3, 4, 5. This I'll name it as job satisfaction, family satisfaction, life satisfaction, work family balance. I'll keep the unobserved things. Now I'll draw the regression relationships, keep the residuals, keep the covariance between these two, rotate this like this, name the residuals, touch tool. This is nothing but, see, if you are trying to test the mediation using SEM program, you have to use 2 different models. One is full mediation model and then partial mediation model. So this is full mediation model. Partial mediation model will look like this. So where you have the direct relationship between X and Y. Are you getting my point? So here need not to follow Barun and Kenny steps because by default any of the SEM program will able to produce the total effect model results. Total effect means between X and Y without M. Similarly between X1 to Y without M. So those are of results you can get it here. So now I'll save this diagram. Data. So if you go to analysis properties, here you have this output, right? In the output, you have to check this indirect effect. Then only you will be able to do the indirect effect testing. Standardized estimates, squared multiple correlation, modification indices. In the bootstrap, I'm going to use bootstrapping approach. Perform 5000 bootstrap with a 95% confidence interval, bias corrected as well as percentage. Close this. Now you run the analysis. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to test my mediation hypothesis. with the help of bootstrapping approach. Are you getting the point? So now I got the output. If you go and look at the output, here you go to estimates, scalars, regression weights. Here you get the direct relationship output. See, job satisfaction to work family balance, significant. Job satisfaction to life satisfaction, that is also significant. Family satisfaction to life satisfaction, significant. Then family satisfaction to work family balance, that is also significant. Almost all of the relationships are significant. Now I need to know whether the indirect effect is significant or not. In order to do that, go to matrices, select this standardized indirect effect. After selecting this particular block of output will be enabled in your Amos output. Now you click this bootstrap confidence. Here you select bias corrected percentile method. Select this two-tailed significance. In the two-tailed significance between family satisfaction and life satisfaction through work family balance, I'm getting 0.042 as a p-value, which means that this particular indirect effect is significant. Are you getting my point? Similarly, between job satisfaction and life satisfaction through work family balance, whether that particular indirect effect is significant or not, my p-value says that it is significant because I'm getting a p-value of 0.036. Able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
This is how you can test it. So here, if you look at this model, you have to do full mediation model also. I guess here for the partial mediation model, we get better model fit than the full mediation. Reason is the direct effect hypothesis are significant. Direct effect hypothesis in the sense, this job satisfaction to life, then family satisfaction to life, both are statistically significant, which means that there exists a mediation, but it is partial in nature. Now I'll also show you how to do the full mediation testing. So I'm just saving this diagram as full mediation model. Just remove this direct effect relationship. This becomes your full mediation model. LS1, LS2, LS3 are indicating the life satisfaction measures or items. These are the 5 items I have used to measure life satisfaction. For more measurement details, you please go through my paper. Fine, Ermias. So now I'm just running this same bootstrap only I'm doing. Now I got the output. Yeah, you can ask the question, come to the live chat. If you look at the model fit for this, pretty good only, but this model is not fitting well with the data than the partial mediation model. See, look at here, C minimum is 4.174, RMSA is 0.104. RMSA is not really great. Now, if you look at the full mediation model, sorry, partial mediation model, here the model fit values are better than this full mediation model. That's the reason I told you that we may have to confine to partial mediation model. Just look at the RMSA 0.060, which means that partial mediation model is providing better fit to the data. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ermias, any questions? You can come to the live chat. Yeah, questions are items used in the questionnaire to measure life satisfaction. Got the point? For example, if you look at my paper, I have used Diner et al. Scale to measure life satisfaction. The 5-item scale developed by Diner et al. 1985 are used to measure life satisfaction. The sample item is the conditions of my life are excellent. Fine. So now what's the conclusion? You have to create indirect effect table. There you have to present your indirect effect value, then lower limit, upper limit, or maybe p-value for percentile or maybe bias corrected bootstrapping method. You have to specifically say how many bootstrap samples you have used and then whether partial mediation you are getting or full mediation you are getting for each and every hypothesis, and then you have to specify the model fit values in your result section of the manuscript. These are the things you have to look into in the case of reporting your mediation results using SEM analysis. Now quickly I'll show you the same thing with the help of process macro. So in process, when you want to use process macro, you need to have some idea about the model template numbers, that is model template information that is available in Hayes book, second edition. Now I'm not sure third edition is available. I think up to second edition I know. In 2017 December or September he has released the second edition. Since then the template information is not openly available to the public. Unless you have the book copy, you can use process macro if you want to use this menu driven option. Analyze regression. After the installation of process macro, you get this option here. Just click it. I know that model number 4 is simple mediation model as far as process macro is concerned. Here I have got two antecedents. So here this X is nothing but my job satisfaction. That I'll just a minute. Let me rename the variables. This X is JS. This is work family balance. This Y is life satisfaction. So I took the mean score for this 4 constructs. So that is available in my data. Now what I'll do is I'll run the simple mediation using process. So model number 4, my X is job satisfaction. Now I'm trying to test the relationship between JS and life satisfaction via work family balance. But I have to keep another X variable in the covariate here. Life satisfaction is the outcome. In the options, use show total effect model, click continue, click OK. You will get the output within a fraction of a second. So we got the output. So if you look at the output, here X is JS. So from X to Y, whether our indirect effect is significant or not, it is significant because the effect is the indirect effect is 0.0256, and direct effect is also significant, which means that we are getting partial mediation effect with respect to this relationship is concerned. Some explanation about the different blocks of output which we have obtained here. The first block of the output is nothing but the relationship between X to M part. So here work family balance is the outcome variable, that is mediator. JS is one of the X, FS is another X. So both the variables are statistically associated with work family balance because we are getting significant p-value in both the cases. Here life satisfaction is outcome. That is the final equation, that is step 4 as far as Boron and Kenny steps are concerned. JS on LS, work family balance on LS, family satisfaction on LS, everything is significant. That's the reason here we are getting direct effect significant as well as indirect effect also significant. Now we can redo the analysis by replacing JS with FS as X. This I'll keep it under covariate. This I'll keep it under X. Now click OK. Now we are testing the relationship between family satisfaction and life satisfaction through work family balance. Now let us check whether this is also significant or not. In the first case, we got partial mediation effect, but indirect effect is significant. In the second case, the indirect effect is significant. Direct effect is also significant, which means that again we are getting partial mediation effect. So that's the conclusion we can make. So doing this mediation moderation using process macro is really simple process. But only thing is understanding the underlying mechanism in terms of doing everything will require some amount of time and effort from the learner side. Any quick questions?